So let's take a look at the right image first. So
Okay.
front head-on view here. Lots of good stuff going on there.
Okay.
All right. I like the square club face. The face is pointing at your target. It's not closed like I see in a lot of players.
Okay.
I see a pretty solid grip there. I'm going to look at your left hand a little bit more closely, make sure it's not over-rotated too strong.
Too strong. Okay.
It could be, but we'll look at that.
Okay.
The distance from the camera is a little bit too far to see it exactly.
Okay.
Hand position solid. All these things look quite nice.
Okay.
All right. So I don't think I'm going to change any of that
Okay.
right there. So if we look at the left image, so you've kind of overcooked the stance as far as alignment.
Okay.
Meaning you've got, and it's not uncommon for somebody to be told, hey, your stance is too closed. Then they come back and it's slightly open, which is a good thing because I'd rather somebody go the other direction than not change it at all.
Right.
You know, at least they're trusting it. You know.
Okay.
So there's that vertical blue line out there is your target at the third green.
Okay.
And this doesn't give you the best perspective on it, but the toe line is a little bit more parallel left than it should be.
Okay.
Not off the charts, but it's going to be, if your downswing plane is a little bit steep, if your stance is open, you're going to tend to hit more pulls than straight shots.
Right.
Okay, and we'll see what your plane looks like here in a second.
Okay.
So the posture, I'll just draw a couple reference points on here. I'm going to bring up a comparison of what a correct posture should look like, and basically your posture has you standing the way you're over the ball. Most of your weight is in your heels rather than the balls of your feet.
Right.
Okay. So bend crane.
Okay.
So what I'm looking at here is if I take a little arrow, 2 arrows, blue line, I'm looking right down in here and right here. So I'm looking at the distance between your toes and the vertical blue line and your heels and the vertical blue line. More gap behind your heels than in front of your toes.
Okay.
That tells me that you're back in your heels.
Okay.
It's just an illustration.
Gotcha.
With most players, you're going to see pretty much equal distance in front of and in back of their heels and toes. Okay. Unless you're really tall, players tend to sit back a little bit more. You're a pretty average height for a golfer. All right. So what I want you to feel as we go back over there, I want you to feel like your sternum is going to be a little bit more out over your toes than where it is right now. And you'll feel the weight immediately come off of your heels. Okay. It's going to be subtle, but it's going to feel very different where your pressure is in your feet. Okay. So from a setup standpoint, that's the only thing I'm going to change. That and just a tweak on your alignment. The rest of that looks pretty good. Okay. So the setup is really not. I don't see that being the issue at all. So I'm going to take your swing plane here. In motion. All right, so you have a big up motion in your backswing.
I do.
All right. Can be a hard thing to time because your head needs to come right back perfectly in that little box that I put around your head. So let's see what happens from here. Some people can time it pretty good, and you hit obviously good shots. So it's not you probably do a pretty good job at timing it. But let's see here. Come down. How you have a healthy back? Okay. this is what I'd like. This is what I would like to do. Let me take this. I'll take a line, draw it down the back. I'm going to take a line. Let's see if this section. And I'm going to draw a line down on his tailbone, okay, and his head. So most really good players do one of two things in their backswing. Their head either drops a little bit, or it stays. There's always lateral motion with the head. Okay, so the head does not stay locked in when you hit a golf ball.
Right.
But very few players will you ever see their head move up. Okay, it tends to either stay pretty level or it will drop, and on their downswing it actually drops even more. So Tiger goes down a little bit at the top of his swing, and then he drops down about 3 inches even more before he hits the golf ball. Okay. Now I'm going to rotate Ben Crane back, and a lot of the players will do the same thing. I'm just using him as an example here. So he's going to rotate back. His tailbone is into that vertical line, okay, and his spine really hasn't changed much there. So that angle that I put initially on his spine is about the same.
Right.
How do I know that? Well, I can take a line through his shoulders, and it creates kind of a T look there, an angled T.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to do the same thing to you, and this is why I asked about your back. My guess is your flexibility is probably a little tight, as most of our flexibilities are, and so you're gonna tend to want to move the body in the path of least resistance,
right? And
that is a little bit of an up motion in your backswing. So I'm going to rotate you back here. So up, I'll take the same line across the shoulders. It's no longer a T.
Right.
All right, and your rear end came off the line. Okay, so what happened was your pelvis actually worked towards the ball at the top of your backswing, so it tucked under. When your spine came up, your pelvis went like this. Okay?
Yeah.
Right? Now, what happens is as you come back down, your pelvis will continue to move forward. Watch, it'll separate more from that line right there. All right? Now, watch this guy. So he's up, and as he comes back down, his head's dropping. His head's dropping not because he's thinking about it, it's because he's actually decreasing the angle of his spine. His spine is coming down, his rear end's going back, and now he's creating that look as he's coming into the golf ball. So there's two different impact positions. One is kind of a tuck under, your pelvis moves forward. Now the problem with that is, and this you said with your driver you tend to leak it more right than you do with the rest of them. As you come in this way, it's hard for your hands to go release and go to the left when everything's going out. So you block yourself out because your pelvis is working under. Okay? So if we can get it, and it's the same thing for irons, the swing itself should look the same with all these shots, and the action is more of a, hey, let's rotate back, not stand up, and as we come back through, we want our pelvis to feel like it's going back, our chest is going to stay down, and we'll start to cover the ball that way. Okay. Now, that's obviously easier said than done, but the thing that you have to know is when you swing it back, and we go back over there and we start to create a better turn on the backswing, you're going to feel restricted. Okay, so that means you're not going to be able to swing it all the way up there. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring your left shoulder and I'm going to bring it down. Right. Okay, and you're going to start to feel tightness in your right hamstring and your glute and maybe a little bit in your back. Right. Okay. In order to stand up like that, you let all those pressures go away. So the overall length of your backswing will feel very compact. Okay. All right. So that's what we're going to feel when we go back there. That's fine. All right. And there's some drills that I can give you to create a better spine angle on the forward swing. All right. So that's what I see that's creating the actions.
She says, my head comes up. Yeah. She says everything comes up, and
you don't recover from it.
And I don't recover from it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it's hard. Why is it so important? I'm not trying to make it prettier. Right. But it creates a different release point for every swing. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Players that come down with their, and we're not going to get to this point, but if a player's chest comes down, their arm comes down, it stays more across their chest as they're coming through it, so the release point's going to stay more consistent. If their chest is up,
and that's
it's this way, it's that way, it's different release
with
points.
My driver, that's why
yep,
it's going
you'll fan it out, and you'll probably tuck under more with a driver.
Yeah.
You'll if we videotaped it, you'd look incredibly jammed up in impact for sure.
That's the way it feels.
Yeah.
That's the way it feels.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, that's